We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all believe. And it feels alright when the worlds collide. Manipulation stands to make us break. What's that instead coming over you? You wish it upon a star. You wish it on a star. You are, you are, you are. You fight back, it's an all-out attack. It feels like I've been taken on the world's machine. Because I want it more than anyone can dream. You look back and it's all in the past. You tell me how you live by all the things you do. Well, you can be yourself, but maybe I'm not you. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters. It is the Joe Allon Show on a Tuesday night. Good evening, Joe.
Evening, Steve.
Good to see you, mate. And as always, we have an hour to talk about Newcastle United. Get your questions in if you've got any for me or Joe, and we will endeavour to answer them. Tom Dixon was in nice and early to talk about the fixture changes. We see this every few months. The Magpies' visit of Liverpool on Wednesday, the 4th of December, will now take place 15 minutes earlier with a 7:30 kickoff. The game will be shown live on Amazon. Then the Boxing Day fixture against Aston Villa at St James's Park will kick off at 3 o'clock, but the game has been chosen for broadcast by Amazon. And Newcastle's final fixture of 2024, which is away at Manchester United, has been moved from Sunday, the 29th of December to Monday, 30th of December. Kickoff at Old Trafford will take place at 8 o'clock live on Sky Sports. We start the new year with a trip to the capital to face Tottenham Hotspur on Saturday, the 4th of January. The game's been brought forward from a 3 o'clock kickoff to a 12:30 kickoff, and it will be shown live on TNT. Wolves then come to Tyneside on Wednesday, the 15th of January. That will kick off now at 7:30, and that has been picked up as well by TNT Sports. Finally, in this change of fixtures, Newcastle visit AFC Bournemouth 3 days later on Saturday, the 18th of January. That's been chosen for broadcast by TNT Sports, and that kickoff has been moved from 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 12:30. And already I can hear people at home who haven't heard that news groaning, because what that does is screw a lot of people's plans up, Joe.
I was just thinking, Steve, right? I've been wondering this for a long, long time. I don't know why I didn't bring it up with you before. What happens to the fans if they've booked the tickets, like the trains and the hotels and things like that? If they're staying over, if they've got plans, they're getting it in advance, they get a better deal. And it's, I mean, 15 minutes or half an hour, fair enough. All right, that's that. We can accept that. But days in advance, what happens to the fans? What do you know what happens to the fans?
Yeah, you lose your money. If you've taken a gamble and you booked a hotel or booked a train or whatever, you've got the inconvenience of trying to change it. That's the problem.
And can they get the money back?
Some people can, yeah. I mean, it just depends on how you booked it and what you've done. Some people might book a flight, for example, to go down to the Bournemouth trip. Most people can with that. It's just inconvenient, Joe. It's the inconvenience. I'll tell you where the inconvenience lies in those fixtures that I've read out. The two that spring to mind are the two trips down south. So, for example, the Spurs game on the that one there, the 4th of January, the away trip to Spurs, with it now being a 12:30 kickoff, that means that Newcastle fans will have to leave. They'll have to leave Newcastle at 6 o'clock on a train. It's 3 hours. You get down there for like 9:15, 9:20. That's the best thing to do if you want to go down there and have a drink. Problem is, weekends engineering works can happen. With a 3 o'clock kickoff, if there's any delays and you get the early train, you've got a good chance of being able to get there. But you're literally going to be panicking about that away trip. You're going to get the 6 o'clock. If there's any delays, you could be screwed. You could miss the game. And there's no compensation if for example, LNER or one of the other networks, unfortunately, is delayed by a couple of hours and you miss the game. You can't get a refund on your ticket. So, you will lose the money on the ticket. It's as simple as that. And again, this one, Bournemouth away, Saturday, the 18th of January, absolute nightmare that, Joe, because as you know, Bournemouth is further south than London. That's been moved to a 12:30 kickoff. No amount of train. Well, there's no train can get you there. You get to London, it would be touch and go whether you would get there for kickoff. Pretty much, you get the 6 o'clock, you get to King's Cross for 20 past. Then you've got to get across London. The only advantage of those kind of kickoffs, Joe, is that getting home is possible. A 12:30 kickoff, finished by 2:30, you can get back to get a last-minute train back. So if you can find a way of getting down there and you're willing to take that gamble, it can work out. It can work out better. You know what I mean? But it's just football supporters are treated as an inconvenience, and we're a commodity that isn't appreciated. It's always been the same. It's always been, the case that fans will be the last to be considered. The only bonus that we get out of it, and Gary's quite right pointing this out, is that we do get extra money for this as a club. Newcastle United get money for being on TV, and the more games you're on, the more money you get paid. So Newcastle are box office. Chantel's not impressed with the TNT story, though. She says it's crap. We pay Sky just not to be able to watch a match because it's on that crap channel. Yeah, I mean, some people don't like TNT, but at the end of the day, it gives us a bit of income. But yeah, fans now, mate, they're not treated with the respect, Joe, that they should be.
Well, again, it's money talking, but if the club, they get money from it, can them not give the fans some reparation, if you like? But again, it just shows a testament to the fan, the Newcastle United supporter who gets there, sells out, and they get there by hook or crook. I mean, I'm thinking about giving Nobby a shout and seeing if I can borrow his donkey to get to one of the games, because it's looking like the only viable way of getting to some of the matches. You do know that Nobby's got a donkey, don't you?
I do, yes. Looking at it though, Joe, in the grand scheme of things, having away supporters is we know that the atmosphere is nothing without an away fan. We saw it, when COVID restrictions were lifted, and we ended up with home fans in only, but in those early days after lockdown. But ultimately, they would love to play games with just home fans in, because they wouldn't have to have any stewarding or policing, minimal stewarding and policing. It's an inconvenience, I think, to clubs, really. That's
unlike Sunderland, where they fight amongst themselves.
Hey,
Can it be sisters?
You can't. We could talk about that a little bit. Of course, there was a derby at the weekend. The women played at the Stadium of Light competitively for the first time, and a 2-1 win, Joe.
Yeah, I thought I did watch bits and bobs of the game, and Newcastle were good for it. They were comfortable. I was listening in and like loving the passion and the fact that one, no jokes aside, it was a brilliant family event, and I think the Newcastle United supporters being able to take the kids along, and I mean the stadium light is brilliant. It's a lovely stadium. It's just that the seats are sitting, they're situated the wrong way. They're facing the pitch, but they'll get away with that sometimes. But the fact that the families have gone there, they've had a great day out, and a fantastic result from Newcastle. I was delighted, and they're doing really well in the table as well. They're marching up there, and I think it would be, if possible, it would be 3 promotions in a row if it could be happening this season. But we're not getting carried away. But well done to the lasses.
Yeah. Well done to Newcastle United women's team, 2-1 win at the Stadium of Light at the weekend. Another bit of breaking news today, and it's Tuchel in talks for the England manager's role. Now, that comes off the back of the 2 friendlies that we've had. I say friendlies because that Nations League is an absolute waste of time. But Thomas Tuchel is open to the possibility of becoming the England head coach in July. Talks are apparently ongoing with Tuchel, who's a strong candidate to replace Lee Carsley. Apparently, he's the clear favourite because Manchester City are confident that they are going to keep the FA's dream target, Pep Guardiola. Now, this comes from well-renowned Twitter account Fabrizio Romano. He very rarely gets things wrong. What's your thoughts on Tuchel potentially becoming the new England manager?
Obviously, former Chelsea manager who won the Champions League. He's got his credits. I mean, I don't know what my granddad would think. And Jack Charlton for that, a German taking over the England team. Oh my God! But you've got to say that he has won things, as in trophies at domestic level as well. But as long as Eddie's not in the frame, I'm over the moon. Because I don't want Eddie to go. And Eddie keeps on getting a mention by saying that he's in the candidates, and whether he's been interviewed or not, we don't know. But the fact that Tuchel now, Sky Sports is saying it as well. I did notice that today, and usually when they're having talks like that and Sky are involved, there's an element of truth, if not it's properly right, But my personal preference, wouldn't be to have a foreign manager, but at the end of the day, you're looking around for candidates and up-and-coming young English managers, and obviously Eddie fits the bill. But as I say, I wouldn't like to see Eddie Howe go. It's not my job to pick the England manager. That's a good thing. I'm glad it's not my job to pick the team, because they were absolutely diabolical in the 2 games. Even though they won the second game, some of the defending was, we'll get onto it, I suppose. But that's where we'll leave it at the minute, unless you're asking us a question, of course, Steve.
No. I mean, Lee Carsley, he's been in the role. I hate to say it, but I think the failure to sing the national anthem probably turned the majority of the press against him, Joe. But he was never going to be the England manager, and I think there was always other candidates. I think the Tuchel thing's interesting. I mean, he is a good coach. You're right, he's won things, but do I think personally that it should be an English manager? Yeah, I do. But there's not many great candidates out there, with the exception of Eddie Howe and Potter at the moment. And like you, I don't want to see Eddie Howe leave. But yeah, Ian Brownlee's right. He says, God help. He says, can't see Tuchel singing the national anthem either, and God help him if he loses a game. Yes, you are right there. Gary says, I personally think Tuchel would be an excellent choice. Vast experience with big clubs, knows how to deal with big egos. He's a good choice for me. But yeah, interesting stuff. We'll wait and see what happens.
There might be some interesting formations, Steve. It could be bandits at 7:30. I don't know.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, Les makes a point as well. Palmer doesn't sing the national anthem. Should we drop him? Yeah, the national anthem should be sung by everybody who plays for England. It is part and parcel of it. But can you start forcing people to sing the national anthem? Probably not. Everyone's going to have their own opinions. Everyone's going to have their own views. But I think it just adds further fuel to the fire that it doesn't mean anything to play for England anymore. England players don't get paid a great deal. Certainly not as much as these players get paid at their clubs. It's almost become an inconvenience playing for England now. That's the way I feel anyway for most of these players. They don't seem to have the pride in it. And the two performances they were like chalk and cheese. I didn't watch the first one. I saw the highlights of the second one. One defeat, one win. Where did you stand on his experiment against Greece, Joe? Because I think he had balls of steel to go for a different formation.
Hey, it's unbelievable that he did it. I mean, let's face it. When the Euros were on, were we all screaming at the telly? We've got all these players, clear them. Kane's up on his own up front. Fair enough, he can do that job, and he does it well. And the thing is, we were crying out for that formation then. But at the same time, you can say it didn't work. Will he try it again? You've got to understand, it's 11 against 11. And Greece on the night thoroughly deserved the win. Everybody's saying how bad England were. But have a look at Greece, right? I don't know how many times they beat us in the history of the game, but I tell you, I can't remember many at Wembley. But, the lad that played up front, Pavlidis, who scored the 2 goals, they made him look like, Marco van Basten. He was unbelievable. Yet, they also had 3 goals disallowed. When you think about that, and these are fractions, these aren't like miles offside and whatever in infringements. Greece played really, really well. And every time they looked going forward, I thought that we're in trouble here. They're going to score, And so deservedly so, but bad luck for trying that. But it wasn't working a long time into the game. It wasn't working from early doors, so he's allowed to change it at any time. So if there's one criticism for his bravado, he could have possibly changed it a lot earlier. I heard one of the pundits, he turned around and said, well, Gordon's been playing up front for Newcastle. So Anthony Gordon's now going to be centre forward for England as well as us. Oh. So, what does that tell you about the state of English football and the state, Newcastle United? Where are our centre forwards? You have a look. For me, the criticism for the England game against Greece and the schoolboy defending against Finland, and bear in mind, you're saying chalk and cheese there, it was Finland. Finland that we were playing. And no disrespect, but these are teams that should be in this league at this stage because these are seeded to be against England. We're supposed to be the all do all and end all. We're the dogs, And yeah, it was an easy 3-1 win against Finland, but don't get away from the defending against Greece as well. And I didn't think, obviously Pickford, you could say, got rested for the Finland game. He was rubbish against Greece, and he's got a great record in international football, and he's been a great player for Everton. What other clubs come in for Pickford for him to go to Everton? If you're England's number one, why didn't the big teams come in? This is what my question is on a number of occasions. But why didn't they go for Pickford when they had the chance to take him from Sunderland, And is it time for a change in the goalkeeper? Because for me, I think he's become a little bit of a liability with his headstrong cockiness, and it's an arrogance that's not a good arrogance. It's not an arrogance that Gaza had. He can have that arrogance because he's best player in the world to do that, And Pickford's not the best goalkeeper in the world. And when's Nick Pope going to get a chance, We're talking about his kicking and we're criticising his kicking. But Nick Pope, for me, is the best stop shopper in the country. He's the best shot stopper. And he is on merit as also a size, a presence in the goal, commands his area fantastically well. And great at crosses. Give him a chance, give him a run out. He's had a terrible injury and he's come back for it. And he's hit the ground running. He's played really well, Nick Pope, But I would have loved to have seen him a chance rather than the other lad, I don't see the thinking whether Carsley obviously does under 21s, and I don't know if he's had these players in his squads before, but I do see him having a massive pull to players that have played for him in under 21 level for England,
Yeah, I mean, the Baldock thing was certainly a driving point for, for the Greece for the Greece team. You know, they wanted to win because they'd lost one of their own, and you can understand that. And an amazing gesture, Les. You're all right. Panathinaikos are paying his widow and son the entirety of his remaining 3-year contract too. Fantastic gesture. That's the good side of football, Joe, isn't it?
That's fantastic. I mean, you know, the lad was a good servant to English football as well. I think he played the majority of his games at Sheffield United, but seemingly, I never come across him, but he has been a great pro and a great friend to a lot of people. And it's a tragedy, you know, and bang on for Panathinaikos for doing that, you know. It's fitting, very fitting, you know, and it was very moving to see how much every one of the Greek lads, you know, and especially the boy that took the armband off, you know, the black armband is a significant in his death, and to show it to the crowd like that and everybody, you know, getting around like that was really moving, you know. It was a fitting tribute.
Yeah, they are also going to do a charity match for him too, which is fantastic. So great to see. Pablo says Pickford's become complacent. Yeah, Joe was making that point, and you know, I think it is time maybe for a change in the goalkeeping situation. And of course, a new manager coming in will make changes like that. So you know, Lee Carsley was also, you know, changing things, moving things around, and having a look at things. So fair play to him for it. And Pablo also says Declan Rice's attitude's great on me. The interview with Faker or others sealed it for me. I didn't see that, but yeah, maybe there's a bit of complacency just creeping in throughout the England team. And you know, they've done so well in recent years under Gareth Southgate, although it doesn't feel like it because we've won nothing, Joe. But why change the habit of, you know, 50 plus years? You know, but we've come close, haven't we? We've come closer than we could have expected under Gareth, I guess, and came very close to winning the World Cup and the Euros. You know, first time we would have won something since '66. And
the thing is, for me though, Steve, it's all right qualifying and being unbeaten in all these games and doing this in all the games. When it comes to the competitions, your remit is to get through every round, to get to the next round, to get into the hat, the draw, get into the tournament and get to the final stages and play rubbish, but win. You know, whatever happened to just like winning? Is winning not the most important thing in football? Winning's always been the most important thing in my mind. You want to see a great team. We had a great team in front of Kevin Keegan, you know. But did we want a winning team? We wanted a winning team, didn't we? You know, and I think we get that. We get labelled like England are too good not to win anything. That's rubbish. You can say that about Brazil. You can say that about the Spanish, the French. I mean, you know, there's nobody got the God-given right to be too good. There's no reason why anybody, England included, can just go out there and let's play them at English football. Let's play the foreigners at English football, you know. That's why we won European Cups in 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. You know, we won Champions Leagues, you know, for years and years and years playing English football. You know, we didn't have to play the Pep Guardiola way, if you like. You know, we don't have to do that. And just a little note on the Italian game, by the way. I did see coverage of the first game because obviously Sandro Tonali, he started both games. First game, my man in Rome, he told me that all the Italian press was saying Tonali was like a madman. And I'm thinking, oh no, he's getting in trouble again. But this wasn't criticism. This was, he covered every single blade of grass in both of the games that he played. In fact, in the second game, he's getting top marks off the Corriere dello Sport. How the hell I remember that from all them years? I'll never know. Is the Italian's top player in the first game. The second game, he was one of all the front men, including the midfield players, that stayed on the pitch and actually played the whole 90 minutes. And they've won comfortably again and top of the group against France. And his international career is coming to fruition again. And let's hope he brings it, because he has been shown, in my opinion, especially against Everton, glimpses of him being the player that I know, that I saw in his early stage of his career in Italy. because he was brilliant and he was worth every penny of his transfer fee, you know. And go on, Sandro, you know, I tell you, I'm buzzing for him, because I think getting that international recognition again is brilliant for him, because he can bring it into his club form. Another point was there was a little lad, I don't know if he's a little lad, but he's a little lad to me, called Maldini. And he was the third one in the trilogy of his granddad, Cesar Maldini, his father, the great Paolo Maldini, and Daniel Maldini. I've got to get this tooth put right, Steve. Made his debut for Italy, given 3 generations of the Maldini family to play for Italy. And that's a fantastic achievement. I wonder, probably NUFcmatters will be able to say, if there's any other granddad, father and son that's ever represented the countries before, because that's an amazing achievement from one family.
Amazing. You learn something new every day, and we'll learn something from Joe tonight. Les, yes, you can. And I've just stuck the link up in the chat, bigup.com/NUFC matters. If you haven't already subscribed to it, please do. And once you subscribe to that, you will get a notification when our shows go up. Joe and I will be live tomorrow night, 6 o'clock on Big Up. It's a slightly different show, because Joe asks me quite a few questions, so I'll get a chance to have a chat. But you can see all of our other shows on there, and there's lots of other shows on Big Up. But please go and subscribe, bigup.com/NUFC matters. And it catches on there tomorrow. As incidentally, as you can see on the screen, Talk of the Toon. I'll be live tomorrow at 1 o'clock with Sid and Rob, with all your usual stuff from Talk of the Toon. Sid couldn't do today. He was busy. So that's why we've swapped around the programming a little bit today. Gary says, Tonali's been playing left of a 3 for Italy. He won't get that position with us. Where would you play him, Joe?
Honestly, that's not my headache, because I don't see him in training every day. It's a great question, don't get us wrong, but a Tonali in the starting 11 for me is a must. So come on, you tell me, because I'd like to know where his best position is. I don't know what he does in training. I don't know where, you know, you tend to play practice games in training. You have shadow play. I don't know whether, you know, where he plays in them. If Eddie does them type of things in training, I don't know. I can just talk about what happened to us, you know. I mean, Sunderland used to do shadow play, and shadow play is when you're playing against nobody with the ball, and you go through things. And I remember Sunderland used to do it every week, and I mean, half the time they were getting beat 2-0, and they were playing nobody.
Ian Brownlee says there, I think there was 4 generations of Feeneys to play for Northern Ireland. Good shout that, Ian, if that is Brilliant. The case.
I remember one of the Feeneys.
Yeah, Julie says England players at the minute don't have boundaries, lots of uncertainty. Sooner we appoint, the better. Get them focused and fired up. And Dave, talking about the goalkeeper, of course, for Greece, Odi, we call him on here, just to avoid pronouncing the name, is in. Surely makes the form that he's in. Surely he makes the bench at the very least. Yeah, he's not really been featuring for Newcastle, but he is an international keeper, Joe. You forget that, and obviously just beating England at Wembley, his form is certainly flying. But he won't keep his international place if he doesn't get a chance at Newcastle.
For sure, but the thing is, Steve, as well, we know sometimes in football clubs, you know, you can do everything, but if your face doesn't fit, you're not going to get in. And if it's down to the manager to pick them, and if he's not in his plans, you know, it's unfair on the lad. But at the same time, they brought in goalkeepers, as you well know, in the summer, and it'll be frustrating for him. But by being on the bench, I will say he's putting himself in the shop window. So if they're going to cash in on him and get a transfer fee for him, obviously by being in the Greek national team, is going to help to raise some coffers for Newcastle United. You know?
Yeah, certainly will. Okay, we are halfway through the show. Any questions, get them in. We will have a quick ad break, and we will be back after this. A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can contact them at their website, mrvickies.co.uk. Email info@mrvickies.co.uk or telephone 01768 210 102. A big thanks to our NUFC Matters fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. They are the Travel and Tourism Award winners 2024. 2-crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. All excursions included. Contact them at their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com, email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com, or telephone 01670 632 460, or mobile 0791 666 4174. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. A big thanks to Media Arts for all the technical side of things. And don't forget, we are also a podcast, and you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. If you want to help the channel, you can hit the like button, which is the little thumb under each video. You can click the share button to share it to other social media, or subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button, and it is for free. We still do 7 shows a week. Hit the join button, and you can join the channel for $1.99 a month to help support us. We do promote events on this channel. Derek Wright is holding his official book launch at the Tyneside Irish Centre, 15th of November. Tickets are £22, and that does include a signed book. Tickets are from newcastlelegends.com. Gold Star Promotions and Gateshead Leisure Centre are bringing Lennox Lewis to the area as part of his UK tour. You can get tickets by calling 0191 250 5066. Tickets start at £39. The Long Sands are back in aid of Dementia Matters and being supported by Lilac Lane and the Chris Norris Band. Saturday, January the 4th, 2025. Tickets £15 from newcastlelegends.com or from the Clooney box office. Peter Beardsley will be at the Tyneside Irish Centre on the 10th of January, 2025. Tickets are available from newcastlelegends.com or from Woucher. An Evening with the Entertainers takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House, the 24th of January 2025. You can buy tickets for that now from the box office 0844 249 1000 or from the website tynetheatreandoperahouse.uk. And the Magpie Lounge is now open at Gateshead Leisure Centre. 7 tokens for £99. Call 0191 250 5066 to book your tickets today. And the first of those tokens will be the 31st of January, an evening with Lee Clark. If you just want to buy tickets separately, call 0191 250 5066. And the book everyone's talking about, The Entertainers, 1992 to 1997, Kevin Keegan's Legacy, is on sale now. The book will be posted out on the 1st of December, written by Will Scott. Over 30 contributors to this book. newcastlelegends.com or Amazon to buy it today. And welcome back. And it's this guy's birthday today, Joe. Andy Cole, 53 today. Cole the goal, of course. Somebody who made a massive impression at Newcastle United as a youngster after coming from Bristol. And he got Newcastle United promoted in the second half of that season with some wonderful goals, culminating in a hat-trick against Leicester City and that wonderful 7-1 demolition in the last game of the season. And then went on to take the Premier League by storm the following year with Peter Beardsley and Scott Sellers in particular playing their part in supplying the ammunition for him to get the goals and him to be Hughie Gallagher's record at the at St James's Park. So 53, where does he stand, Joe, in your mind as, you know, in the all-time number 9s at Newcastle? Does he get into your top 3?
He's not in my top 3, but he's definitely in my top 10. You know, I mean, Andy Cole, it was a shame, you know, he's an absolutely brilliant goal scorer and a good player. But he left in a cloud, as you well know, with a Man United fiasco, rubbish. But I did see an interview that he did, Steve, about 3 months ago on Sky. And it was a very candid interview that he did. And he come across absolutely brilliant and communicated. I think if a lot of Newcastle United supporters watched that interview, they probably would see the real Andy Cole, you know. But as a player, I couldn't fault him, you know. But again, Peter Beardsley, you say Scotty Sellers as well, lovely lad and a fantastic player. But, you know, with them two around him and Lee Clark in the middle of the park, you know, you're getting goals and he could finish. But his service he was getting was outstanding. And Kevin Keegan knew that as well. But like I say, when you're playing with a magician like Peter Beardsley, who made Gary Lineker, let's face it, I think Lineker must have forgotten that because he never mentions Pedro anymore. But honestly, have a look at the footage in 1986 and then have a look at Peter Beardsley playing for England in 1990. You know, you're talking world class. But Andy being me top 10, definitely. But you just mentioned somebody that broke his record, and I never saw him play, you know, Hughie Gallagher. I mean, we had the pleasure of meeting one of his relatives, didn't we, when we were doing a show in town. And was it his granddad?
His great grandson, yeah.
His great grandson, and he was a lovely guy. And the stories he used to tell us about that was phenomenal for me, especially listening to the stories telling about Hughie Gallagher. You know, it's a kind of bit cracking it when your granddad's Hughie Gallagher, isn't it? You know, but yeah. I think we will come one day to talking about number 9s and all that, and. You know, you can categorise them, and I can go through them. I know definitely who my top 3 is, but
we'll keep that for another day.
That's going to be another day. That's definitely
keep that another day. Mark Byers said there was 3 generations of Allons played for Newcastle. He says Joe Allen, his son Malcolm Allen, and his grandson Alan St. Maximin.
It's a cracker, Mark. It's a cracker. On that subject, by the way, I did get taken aback when I was having my mid-evening coffee, watching the Great Wales playing, and then I thought after 67 minutes the Welsh commentator turned around and went, and Joe Allen's coming on off the bench. I thought, what? I couldn't believe it. I was making a comeback for the Welsh team, and let's face it, Joe Allen's playing for Wales. There's only one Joe Allen, man. Where?
The other talking point that I wanted to bring up with you tonight was professional footballers becoming referees, Joe, and should they be fast-tracked? I caught at the back end of a debate on TalkSport this weekend about it, and apparently the PFA had put out an email to its members asking for professional footballers, retired professional footballers, if they would be interested in taking the next steps to becoming a referee. They had in the region of 1,300 replies of people who were interested. I've got to be honest, I don't know the names of these people who've now taken the next steps. But do you think it's a good idea for former professionals to become referees? Is there a benefit in that happening, Joe?
I'm not against them if they want to try that. But one thing that stands out what you just said is, if they're retired, and obviously I was retired through injury, and best part of the lads that I know, because the fitness wasn't compatible to the level that they were playing and the standard they were playing. So would they be fit enough to be referees? I certainly wouldn't. I kind of walk around the garden, you know, never mind out else. But at the same time, there was a player, I think his name was Tony Philliskirk. I remember he played for Sheffield United in Oldham, and he packed in, and I actually played for Durham under 15s in the representative schoolboy stuff, and he was playing for Durham under 19s, and I always remember him because he was a big, tall, lanky thing, and he was at Sheffield United, you know, and he became a professional referee, but I don't know if he ever got the refereeing in the Football League. I don't know what stand he got to. I can just give you the examples of me. And, you know, we always slaughtered referees. Let's face it. I mean, it's the most unthankful task in the game. You know, you think about the referee's team, his team, the referee, him and his 2 linesmen. I mean, nowadays they've got, you know, best part of everything. They're all professional. They get unbelievable fees. I mean, Mark Clattenburg's started stage screening video nasties, you know, and Mark Clattenburg was in refereeing at the right time. He'll tell you himself, he's a great lad, but he'll tell you himself that he wasn't good enough to be a footballer, but he, as a referee, was outstanding. He was one of England's best referees. But when you say, for instance, having training and there's a small-sided game, we, when we were apprentices, had to do a referee's course. So that invariably took, in a training session, you as the player being the referee amongst your mates. So if it was 11-a-side game, you're in charge. You've got 2 linesmen, which are 2 of the lads that were usually injured, and you're the man in the middle. And I tell you what, it was horrendous, because not only have you got the 22 blokes giving it that to you, them's your mates, you're getting called all sorts of obscenities, you know, not on a family show like this, but, you know, you've got like, for every good decision, you've got 20 odd shouting it was the wrong decision. Now, this is where there's no grey area for me in refereeing, because when VARs come in, I mean, just give me the referee and his 2 linesmen with the ball and the 22 players. Just keep it simple. Is that not the game of football? The referee might get it wrong. He might make a wrong decision now and again. But you know what? You can get, you know, leveling out over seasons or over games or whatever when they'll make the right decision. But because he's in charge, you adhere to it. You know, there was times when I'd shout and ball at referees and scream at them, you know, and some of the referees, they give as good as they got. They'd turn around like, and I'd say, "Oh, ref, you need your eyes choked. Did you not see that, man?" You know, and they turn around and say, "Well, Joe, you're having a good game, son, aren't you?" And you think, Jesus, he's not right. He's not wrong. He's right. I'm having a mare, you know. I remember, I think I was bitten by a referee when I was a youngster, because I was in a schoolboy game, well, probably under 13, something like that. And the teacher of the opposing team was the district manager at Chesley Street, and he was refereeing the game. And it was like Kess, if you like. You had the tracksuit on with the skinny bottoms that you wear that are fashionable now these days. But back in the 80s, it wasn't fashionable to have them drain pipe tracksuit bottoms on. Anyway, he was the man in charge. In our school, we didn't have any nets. So we didn't have any nets to play. So I've scored after about a minute, and the opposing teacher is the referee, out of courtesy, you know. And one of my mates is standing behind the goal, and he's went, "Get in, Joe." And I thought, champion. That's the first one. A couple of minutes in, and he went, "No goal." He says, "Went wide." And I'm like, you know, I says, you know what I mean? The lad's gone, "It's a goal. He scored." No, it's went wide. So there's no nets. Anyway, to cut a long story short, honestly, take me money, take me girlfriend. Don't take a goal off us. Please, don't take any goals off us. And I couldn't get, anyway, I scored a couple and we won the game. But that little thing there, you know, referees, they're getting an unthankful task. That was just a funny example. The referees that have got the job in the Football League, it's, you know, at least when they were refereeing the game and they were in charge, it wasn't a computer, it wasn't a still, it wasn't a freeze frame, it wasn't a split second. It was the referee and his 2 linesmen making the decision, and that was good enough for 22 players for years and years and years. So why get into all this now is, and they don't even get it right. If they got it right, then fair enough. You know,
yeah.
that would be awful. I will tell you one story about a referee as well, which turned me head a little bit.
Go on.
I was playing in the Central League for Newcastle, and you used to have like Football League referees refereeing the Central League. It's a reserve game, and we're playing at St James's, and I couldn't understand. It was December. And I'm looking at the referee. He was a local referee, so the local referees were allowed to referee against, you know, the home club team, because it was to do with travel and expenses and things like that. And I can't name the referee, but I remember there was a corner, and I was looking at the referee, and I was thinking, bloody hell, his legs are tanned, aren't they, for December, you know? And it was like, you know, it was frozen. It was one of them where the monkeys were covering what they had, you know? And I was looking, I was thinking, Jesus. And he turned round, and I could see at the back of his calf, there was a ladder. he was wearing dark brown tights. I couldn't believe the referee was wearing tights. I've heard of Robin Hood and men in tights, but referees in tights. And he says to us, "Oh, don't look at that." He says, "It's not for me tan, it's to keep me legs warm." I thought, oh my God, what a toucher.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Unbelievable, Jeff. I mean, just finishing up on that, do you think it should be fast-tracked if it was a big name? If a Joey Barton decided to take up refereeing, should he be in the Northern League, and doing a match down there to start his career?
Well, one, I would definitely pay to watch it wherever in the world if Joey Barton was refereeing, because it would be like putting a fox in charge of the hen house. It would be hilarious. So I didn't think Joey for 1 second would become a manager, never mind a referee, with his exuberance, shall we say. But fast tracking, if it's their thing and they want to go into refereeing, then the idea of the ex-footballer knowing about the game, yeah, fair enough, whatever. For me, there's more knowledgeable fans out there than some of the footballers I've played with. I swear to you, it doesn't give them the right. Football's all about opinion. Obviously, the refereeing course that you have to go through, that, by the way, me and Gaz have both failed, by the way, which was great. But getting players to be referees, for me, I mean, the knowledge of the fan, the normal fan that's on the terraces, like I say, is better than some of the players. But if them players want to become referees, they're better men than me. Good luck to them.
Yeah, it's certainly created a lot of debate in the footballing world, and it will be interesting.
Created a lot of debate in this house about tights.
Yeah, I bet it does. Newcastle United are back in action at the weekend following the international break. We are restarting our Premier League programme by welcoming Brighton to Gallowgate on Saturday, and it is a good old-fashioned 3:00 kick-off. Kieran Trippier could be on the injured list. He's reportedly suffered a hamstring injury. That looks like it'll keep him out until early December. Sounds like a long way away, but it's not that long. It's only a couple of months, but still a big blow as far as Newcastle are concerned regarding the squad. There is a lot of talk around St James's Park, however, that Callum Wilson, Alexander Isak could be back at the weekend. Lewis Miley, Jamal Lascelles and Sven Botman are all still out, but Miley not too far away, we're led to believe, as well. Don't forget as well, Joe Linton is one booking away from an automatic 1-game suspension. As for Brighton, they've got their own injury problems at this moment in time as well. Adam Webster, Jan Paul van Heck, Zhao and Matt O'Reilly are all unavailable. And Jorginho Rutter is doubtful after he withdrew from international duty. Solly March, Simon Adringa and former Newcastle United midfielder James Milner could all return after injury. It's interesting with Milner. He's now 38 and still playing in the top flight. Amazing. Had a great career, of course. Played for Newcastle, Leeds United, Aston Villa, Manchester City and Liverpool so far. What's the form table like for Brighton? Well, they've won 1, drawn 1 and lost the other of their 3 Premier League away games to date. Their 3-0 win at Everton was followed by a 1-1 draw at Arsenal and a 4-2 defeat at Chelsea. As Tom has already pointed out in the chat, Peter Banks is the man in the middle for this particular fixture. It is his second Tyne game of the season. He oversaw our 3-1 defeat at Fulham in September. And on VAR is Tony Harrington. So, first of all, potentially big news, Joe, in the fact that we'll have not 1, but 2 strikers back this weekend.
That'll be great. I mean, honestly, it'll be fabulous if even just one of them plays. But, I would love to see Eddie play them both. Why not? But I don't think he will. He'll stick to his formation that he likes. But, I mean, fullbacks-wise with Kieran, I mean, Jesus, the way they've chopped and changed. I mean, Tino might get a game because his little trip to Finland obviously didn't get him on the pitch. But it would have been nice for him to be involved, I suppose. But he could probably fit in. And Brighton, I mean, for me, that they started the season pretty well. You know, especially the point against Arsenal. They played really well there. I watched the game, and I quite like the manager. He's a young manager coming through again. I think he might be the youngest in the Premier League. But you know, Brighton are again like a similar side for me, like Fulham. I mean, you mentioned about the referee going to referee the game again. I hope it's not the same result, but at the same time, you know, they're a well-organised side that are difficult to beat. You know, I mean, Arsenal couldn't break them down at the Emirates, and you know they'll be coming here all right. We've got happier times of Brighton teams coming to St James's Park. One of my favourite games ever in the history of the club was when we got promotion on that final day. You know, I'm watching Keegan, Beardsley, Waddle, McCreary, Anderson, you know, Jeff Clark, all that team, big Kevin Carn goal. It was unbelievable, you know, to see like that team just brings back floods of memories. I hope they show all the footage of it, because I'm in the dugout next to it, and I might get a mention, a little wave that comes on when KK was going around with his shirt and all that, and there was them horrible fences up. We were obviously apprentices at the time, you know, but that was one of the best days, and arguably one of the greatest goals I ever saw from a Newcastle player against Brighton was Peter Beardsley when he slid in against Eric Young and chipped Joe Corrigan. No mean feat when he was 6'8", Joe Corrigan, and Pedro in the Gallagher end. Goal of a lifetime. But I see we're going all right against Brighton. We're coming back to St James's again. It was a good point against Everton. Let's put, you know, the drop 2 point syndrome to one side. Be positive. Getting in there with the strikers with a bit of luck. You know, one playing, one on the bench if it has to be. But both of them getting a run out, which is important. And a little bit better is regarding Eddie's formation, is regarding the positivity, you know. If the two lads aren't fit, are we looking at playing Anthony Gordon as a forward again?
Looks
it
like
worked against Man City. I'm asking you, Steve. Would you say that? What do you think?
I mean, the will. He's already proved it. You know, when those two haven't been fit, that's who he sees as his man through the middle. I think what we need to do is we need to make sure that the link-up plays better, Joe. I don't think the link-up play has been great. You know, Isak's looked like he's been isolated in the games that he was fit at the start of the season. He hasn't got off to the start that everybody thought he was going to get off to. I think many people saw, you know, Isak as somebody who was going to get 20 plus goals a season and perhaps challenge Haaland. You know, at the moment, you know, he's miles away. And I would give out of the two, and Ian Brownlee says I'd rest Isak if Wilson's fit. You know what? It depends on what's happening in training, but I would give Wilson a run out, you know, but I don't think he will. I think if they're both fit, I think he'll start Isak. Then he's got a decision to make on the midfield. He's got a call to make on the midfield. That call will change inevitably when Joe Linton gets that next yellow card. Sure as eggs, he will. And then that makes it slightly easier for him. But he's going to have decisions to make, Eddie, this weekend. But what do I think he'll do? I think if Wilson and Isak are fit, I think he will play Alexander Isak up front. And I think he will resort to playing Gordon on the left, maybe rest Joe Linton. That's what I think. Or maybe drop Tonali again and play Joe Linton and Bruno in the middle and put Gordon on the left. But it's nice. It's nice problems to have. But you know, we're going to learn a lot more about Eddie's team selections and who he thinks is the strongest 11 are. I think at the weekend, Joe.
On the Joe Linton thing, Steve, does the yellow card scenario have a time frame as regarding, say, for instance, if he was rested? When does it come that you start afresh again, or how does it work? Because I don't understand it.
He's got that hanging over him. You can't, you know, the next phase isn't until next year. You know, he will get booked. There's no doubt about it. And then after that, it goes to 10 yellows, doesn't it? Good evening, Danny Coggins, who's in the chat. It goes to 10 then after that, you know what I mean? So yeah, he's going to pick one up. He's going to pick a suspension up. He can't like, it's not like international football where it only lasts a couple of games and then it changes. So yeah, that inevitably will happen. There will be other injuries. There'll be other suspensions, but Eddie at the moment's got a plethora of opportunities and decisions, and Lewis Miley's going to be coming back after a wonderful season last season. He's going to be knocking on the door as well. But yeah, it will be interesting to see what to do. So lots of people have given us their predictions in the chat. Lots of people going 3-2, Jackie Nicholson 3-2, 2-1. It says Tom, 3-1 says Gary. On this. A lot of people think as well we're going to score goals. I still don't see us scoring lots of goals for some reason. I don't know why. And Newcastle have to watch Minty. The Minty effect is going to be interesting. I know he never played for us, but he's he was signed for the club. He did leave under a bit of a cloud. Eddie wasn't happy about losing him, and he has had a decent start to the season. So Minty could come back to haunt us as well. Asula should get a run out. I don't think he will. Don't know. I think he's had his opportunity, or hasn't had his opportunity, should we say? What's your feeling prediction? I'll give mine later in the week, Joe. What's your prediction for this game against Brighton?
Well, again, because of the goals scored in the league and the position that we are, I see that one figure and I'm gutted by it, really. So I can only see, like you thinking, like a 1-0 win, because in my eyes, it's going to be scraping a goal if we've got to, because we're not pumping, we're not firing like unbelievable to being like what we were last year, as regarding there was goals coming from all over the place on the pitch, and you could count on Sean Longstaff's getting a few goals, you can count on the defenders getting a few goals, but the Isaac factor is not there at the minute, and that's a massive chunk of our goal scoring. So Brighton, are there to be beat. They are a dire side to break down. They're hard to break down, like I said about Arsenal. So being attacking, being the home, having that 12th man, which is also vitally important for us every week at St James's Park, making it a fortress again. I'll say a 1-0 win. And talking about James Milner, you just have to pay a testament to the lad to keeping himself that fit for so long, to be still in the top flight. I remember him as a youngster at Leeds, and he had all the attributes, he was an athlete. He didn't have once about going out and, socialising and whatever. He was 100% footballer. People used to call him all sorts, boring James Milner and all the rest of it. But as a professional, you would want a James Milner every single time in your team. And congratulations to him. He's been a brilliant player. I just hope he has an absolute stinker if he plays on Saturday.
Great stuff as always, Joe. Joe's gone for a 1-0. I'll be back tomorrow 1 o'clock with Sid and Rob. We'll talk with the tune. Until then, take care. See you next week, Joe.